Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Simon Quick Takes Generative AI at Simon. I'm Mitch Lovett, and I'm here with Dan Keating. I'll introduce myself briefly and give Dan a chance to introduce himself before we get rolling. So I am Mitch Lovett. I'm the Senior Associate Dean of Education and Innovation and a marketing professor. I came to this AI as a Senior Associate Dean of Education, leading the initiative related to generative AI, integrating into our curriculum, and we've been working on that the last almost year, not quite year yet, but a large part of a year. Got lots of exciting things to update you on, and I'm excited to be presenting here today with Dan Keating. So Dan, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you, Mitch. So I'm Dan Keating. I'm a clinical assistant professor here at the Simon School. I also lead the Instructional Technology and Innovation team, which is the ITI, and that team is tasked with working with faculty to implement instructional technology to enhance the student experience in the courses. And so we were a natural team to run with this generative AI initiative. And you'll see throughout this presentation that my team has been actively involved in this. So I'll turn it over to Mitch to kick off the presentation.
Thanks, Dan. We are excited to be able to tell you about kind of this update of where we are with our initiative, all the work we've been doing, and put it in the context of being able to answer some of your questions. So we had some questions beforehand. We'll be trying to answer some of those as we're going. But before we get started, we introduced ourselves. We want to give a chance a little bit for you to check in to understand kind of your engagement with AI. So please take a second to complete the poll. Looks like, yeah, okay. So it should be up for you. Go ahead and please vote on this, and we'll get a sense of where you are with AI now.
And we're getting some good participation.
Great. And in this poll, you want to think about it going either from your personal use or kind of what you're connected to in your organization.
Okay, we got a lot of responses. I will share those results. There we are.
All right. So it looks like all over the map, the modal case is the using sort of tools and like Copilot and ChatGPT. A few in the developing AI applications space. And then some, almost about half of the people, kind of less engagement, personal, but not necessarily through work. So we'll be able to share with you a little bit of what Simon has been doing, and that is going to, in one part, we're going to talk about our inquiry, where that'll get a little bit of sense about where what we're hearing in industry as well. It might give you a sense about where things are broader than Simon. We're going to start with an overview of the initiative and approach that we've been taking. We'll talk about course integrations and curriculum innovation, and Dan's going to sort of really lead us through some of the really valuable integrations that have been happening as we've been experimenting with this. We'll talk about the marketing and collaboration components of this, how we're connecting to others about this, and the AI inquiry, which will actually support our curriculum innovation. I want to just take us back a little bit. When we initiated this process of the Simon AI initiative, we realized we wanted to make Simon a leader in applying AI to business education, just like we did for STEM. And so it was a bold goal, but it's not a goal to actually be developing AI, though in the process of leading in this, we actually are doing that too. But our focus has been on becoming experts in teaching with AI. And that's been a lot of the emphasis of training thus far, and teaching to manage and create value with AI. And that's really where you're going to see our emphasis going forward. So with that, I want to give a little sense about kind of the framework that we used for how we approach this for the curriculum and instruction. So our initiative for MBA and MS programs started with kind of thinking about the core AI, what should be in that core that every student at Simon gets. And we implemented that for one course in every program so that there was a component of core AI. And then we have kind of technical and more specific skill development in our more advanced courses we'll talk about later. But every student at Simon gets, information with the AI technology landscape, the role of human intelligence as a manager in thinking about AI, and of course the policy challenges and ethical use considerations related to that. Some prompt engineering that actually Dan has done the large bulk of. I'll talk a little bit about some of that, about how to use those AI chat type formats effectively for generating the kind of productivity enhancements. And then more involved thinking about AI business integrations, where you can get the value, what kind of workflows can work for this, and AI analytics substitutions, where you're really replacing other kinds of analytics using AI and leveraging those kinds of tools. So that's all in the core AI, but we wanted to approach this so that it's not just kind of in a course on AI, but instead thinking about, how do we make these productivity enhancements? How do we help people be more effective, more efficient with AI throughout the curriculum? And I'm really excited at the extent of faculty engagement across the disciplines. We had just really all the disciplines engaging in cross-curriculum applications of this, and we're going to give you examples later. Big projects and cases and case competitions and vision projects, all connecting to AI. This is really exciting, where it's, from communication courses to courses on statistics and analytics to courses on finance and economics, like all over the place, we were getting AI integrated. And so we'll be giving examples of those. And then the third piece of this was really the teaching and learning. And the goal of this was being able to individualize the instruction and learning through AI tools. But of course, we wanted to start from making sure we don't lose the human expertise in the process of this, so that we're managing with AI, both the teaching of it, but also ensuring that human expertise is there so that we can still manage with AI. And a lot of use of AI, you actually need to have some expertise, and so we kind of will, that's been a big piece of that effort. But in the individualizing, you'll see some things as well. With that, I want to say, really our emphasis is not on training on a particular tool or a particular piece, but thinking about generalizable skills and education, assignment education, and the AI be a part of that core education. And so we're thinking about frameworks and reflective practice that allow students to develop skills and understanding of where they can get value and productivity enhancements from AI. So it's not about robbing students of the chance to gain expertise, replacing AI with other things, but thinking about, how do we do this in a way that is really value creating. So with that, I want to pass it to Dan, who's going to talk about elements that we put in place there and some of the integrations.
Very good. Thank you, Mitch. So, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this, but, a year ago, roughly a little less than a year ago, we created a new generative AI policy for each of our courses. And this was really the foundation of how the whole thing worked. The professors have to choose in their course one item from each column. And we tried to make it very easy: red, yellow, or green. Green, unless I say you can use it for anything, unless I say no. Red, never, can't use it at all, and yellow somewhere in between. And so this allowed the faculty to choose how flexible they wanted to be and how much AI they wanted to integrate into their courses. And this was a key moment for us as we took a very aggressive approach to integrating AI into our coursework. It really started here. Next slide, please. I do want to talk some about the workshops we've done. So some of them have been student-facing, and some of them have been behind the scenes. And I think it's really important and shows a great investment by the school to, creating an area of excellence in AI for all of us. So we did start with the faculty, and over the course of the year, we've done 6 different workshops on all kinds of things, just making sure everybody was up to speed and had a good foundation in ChatGPT, what our policy was. And we went deep on prompt engineering patterns. And then we started to have faculty members get up and talk about what they were doing in their courses to integrate generative AI and other kinds of AI, and what worked with the students and what didn't work, and these kinds of things. As well, we gave a foundation to all of the students. Every student that came came back from as a second-year MBA or was a one-year master's and was just entering the school, they all got a ChatGPT generative AI session at the beginning of the school year that really got down to really detailed level of how they might use this in their coursework going forward for the year, and just making sure that everybody was up to speed on it. As well, we worked with the staff. We did a few sessions with the staff, because if you're in admissions or career management or those kinds of things, there's great use cases for ChatGPT there as well. So we really took an approach of the whole school needs to be doing this, and we're very aggressive with it. Next slide, please. And the other one we did, and I won't go too deeply into this, we did some alumni workshops as well that you could sign up for. And the first was in Q1 of this year. And we did just basic generative AI foundations, business use cases. Here's where we're seeing people use it out there in the work world, and then some prompt engineering patterns as well. And now we're in the process of developing the next round of alumni workshops, which will go a little deeper into how ChatGPT or other generative AI tools can be used. Okay, next slide. I'm not gonna talk about all this, but this is how we've integrated it into the curriculum. 22 courses and 26 faculty have taken an official part of the program to get grants to update their courses, and that went across programming, financing, data analytics, product management, communication strategy. The virtual TA product, Mitch will talk about this later in the session. So next slide, please. These are some of the courses that changed right from the beginning in fall and pre-fall, utilizing ChatGPT in programming. It's really quite good at coding. In the core stats for MS, you can keep going, Mitch. Marketing 432, this is a class that I taught and John Schloff taught as well, and utilizing ChatGPT to help with new product concepts, to come up with designs, these kinds of things. Managerial communications, MGC, use it to help you write and, more importantly, refine a presentation. Accounting is using it as well. I could go deep. We could do a whole session on all of these. Analytics design was a course that Mitch founded and now is taught by Liza Moore, that used custom GPTs, the information systems management course as well. So it really has gotten across, and this is just a core sample from the fall. I'll turn it back over to Mitch to discuss the virtual TA.
Thanks. And yeah, that was just a sampling of things, but you could see just across the disciplines, all the kind of work that has been done integrating these tools. I want to mention the virtual TA. We've been piloting this. This is really exciting stuff, I think. It's the core of this actually was developed at Rotman, the idea related to it by Kevin Bryan and our Simon Technology Group. Steve Clary, Joe Ag, Pete Fossler have really been instrumental in programming and developing this. So they've been working with the Instructional Technology Innovation Group to really make this a live pilot. So this gives you 24/7 virtual TA. So it can answer questions, knows it doesn't know certain things, creates practice, coaches through practice things. It's built off of the GPT-4 ChatGPT engine, but it's using a kind of set of techniques called retrieval augmented generation, that this RAG type. It's kind of like a lookup into all the materials from a course. So the assignments, the exams, the lecture notes, the recordings, transcripts, and the professor can figure out, what are these things that are available on their Blackboard? Do they want integrated? And select those things. And then the AI uses those to formulate kind of the set of things that it can answer. And it limits itself to those aspects. This really provides support to be able to answer questions anytime. And that thing you didn't quite catch in the lecture, like, oh, I didn't quite get this, explain it to me again, or give me a different example. It can do this kind of thing, and it's really amazing the potential here. Now we're just doing the pilot this spring for the first one. We're going to do another one this summer, but we're excited about where this is going and the kind of help it can provide our students to learn content faster and better. So that's the virtual TA. I'm going to talk about our AI inquiry. One of the key things that we wanted to make sure when we embarked on this is that we do it in a way that keeps us connected to the industry leading edge. And so to stay on the forefront of industry applications, we did a range of different activities. We did some surveys of alumni. Some of you may have participated in that. We did post-internship surveys of the students and their supervising manager to understand kind of how they were thinking about AI, to really get leading signals of this. We've had guest speakers. We've had interviews and focus groups and panels with alumni and other thought leaders and corporate connections. All of this is sort of driving curricular development, thinking about the community around AI, and ultimately driving our curriculum efforts that I'll talk about a little later. But I want to give some real basic ideas around example leading cases that came out of this. Things like basic uses like developing slide decks, documents, coding, kind of doing copy editing type things, like all that kind of basic stuff, of course, came up. And those are important uses. I don't want to downplay the relevance of these kind of uses. But we saw things like market research materials being managed, from surveys to, presentations, the whole thing for a major research company, just, building these tools around this. From a large bank using that retrieval augmented generation to do knowledge management within the bank. A call transcript summarization and semi-automated workflows for a customer service organization, client feedback summarization, interpretation for major consulting company. So just lots and lots of examples across the board, different kinds of industries, different kinds of settings, where these tools can create value, do things faster, do it more accurate, increase productivity for folks embedded in various types of workflows. So, what were some main points that we got in sort of connecting to this? One is the biggest challenges. Biggest one that came up over and over was the talent to be able to evaluate opportunities, assess the risks, the data organization and pipelines that are needed to outsourcing. If you go outsourcing, the price uncertainty that's related to that, and the pace of change, versus developing it internally, which, because of these tools and the data needed and so forth, can be very extensive. This is a difficult choice that people were facing. Some big takeaways from it. The people are expecting to continue to have human in the loop for most applications. In other words, it's not going to just be AI running things. It's AI supporting a human element. And in some cases where it's proven, it may, and there's a lower risk, it may be less so, but at least now it's mostly human in the loop situations. And that the identifying business value and assessing those risks, that those are key ingredients for the business education. It's not about, not that it's not about coding, but coding is not enough. It's much more than coding. And this is where I think Simon sits in a really great place, balancing those two pieces. So what does this mean for our curriculum? Our positioning is great with our analytics. Our problem-solving orientation and quantitative skills orientation matches well for this kind of space. And thinking about what we need to emphasize in our curriculum, enhancing the personal productivity through AI use, identifying those potential applications, being able to prototype applications, really becoming a sophisticated user as a way to learn how to collaborate and identify and understand the value. Data and throughput constraints, really understanding those ideas, and being able to manage or collaborate with technical teams. So that brings me to kind of the technical courses and some of the questions that we had related to technical courses. So I'm going to illustrate a couple of these, and then I'll let Dan talk about the course that he's been teaching with Eliza Moore in more depth. So deep learning AI, this is a course that's all about AI and sort of the technologies behind what AI supports AI. And so this is lots of skill building and being able to develop frameworks for prediction tasks using Python, and it introduces those generative AI frameworks. The social media and text analytics has Gen AI in the context of text analytics, which of course is a core part of large language models, but it extends beyond kind of the chat kind of interface that many of us are familiar with. Machine learning for business analytics is a course that introduces the fundamentals in the machine learning space, for these kind of tools. It's a much broader context than just kind of those generative AI, but other kinds of AI as well. And then for this last course, Introduction to AI and Business, I want to turn it over to Dan to talk about that.
Thanks, Mitch. So we launched this class in the spring of this year, and it's really fit into three sections. And the first part of the course is really on AI initiatives in your work environment. So what kinds of things lend themselves to utilizing AI today on them? How do you build a team to implement AI projects in the workplace? How should you organize that team? Who should be on that team? That kind of stuff. The second piece of it was much more technical, and that was building actual chat interfaces, calling APIs, training chatbots on your private data so that you could have some real business use. We wanted our students to be able to talk about this in the interview room. We wanted them to be able to bring it to their companies that, hey, I know how to do this when they start for their internships or their real jobs. And then the third piece of it really is pretty important, and it's the what does it all mean component of it. It's the ethics of it, the bias of it, the philosophy of it, so that we're turning engaged students, curious students out into the world that have given some thought to what this all means and how it might work out there, and how they should work with their organizations to implement these kinds of projects responsibly. So that's what that class has been. It's been a lot of fun to teach.
Building on these technical courses, in part, we have all of our programs, as I mentioned before, have the core AI and have sort of these Gen AI workshops that Dan puts on early in the program. But we've also developed specific curricula around AI now. We relaunched our online MS in business analytics and applied AI, which embeds AI initiative related learning throughout the curriculum, as well as some new course developments there that really direct students to be able to identify those opportunities, understand enough so that they can really see how the workflows can work, and then actually have that productivity enhancement themselves. And then we've got some advanced certificates of achievement in AI and fintech in AI. So these have more of a technical focus, and they're within our MS degrees is the main focus there. And then we're actually developing a new MS in AI for business, which will build on our strength that we already have in the business analytics side, and incorporates AI more deeply and earlier, so that, again, students have this opportunity to really develop those technical skills and understand how to apply them into the business context. So we're really excited about these program innovations that have been underway, and some are already happening and will be for this fall already. So we've, of course, also been marketing this. Part of this is collaborating with the university and thinking about supporting university efforts and participating in those efforts. This includes presenting workshops that Dan and I've both presented in, working together on grants for teaching and learning related to AI, doing some transdisciplinary center work with some folks in data science, computer science, and education school, really across the university that got approved. AIN Center, engaging with AIN Center to do some great work, and then more broadly connected with data science, computer science, to make sure that we're staying connected on potential program collaborations and leveraging the strength that each area has. The marketing side of it, we've been pushing this out all over, well, I guess all over the world at some level. Peer deans and administrators, alumni, prospective students, and business media, all part of that target audience. And the impact has just been phenomenal. 131 million unique visitors per month for the syndicated work that's happened there. Articles in lots of top space on the web and through our interactions. And we've got Dan and I are presenting in a conference coming up at GMAC, a major conference for graduate management education. So really exciting stuff, from the instructional technology, the curriculum innovations, to the way we're implementing things. It's just fantastic coverage. So with that, I wanted to pause and take a few questions that have been coming up. We had a few already that we had I think some of those we did address earlier. Um, Dan, was there one that you wanted to address in that set from the earlier ones?
Um, I don't have those in front of
Oh,
me.
the tips for, let's see, the tips for utilizing AI in business analytics. Yeah, so Dan has been he mentioned those alumni workshops. Those are a great place to get tips for utilizing AI in business analytics. We expect to continue doing some of those. Um, just going through some of the questions. How do we address using more advanced generative AI for organizational change um, other than content generation? Yeah, so hopefully you saw in here some of those examples. Things like think about how it impacts the workflows for sort of client transcript management, and then summarization of those transcripts is a great example. I think we covered what Simon courses are devoted to AI. That was a question in there. I think we covered those. Um, Let's see, what else? Is governance or regulation something that will continue to lag, or do you think it will catch up given the pace of change that is occurring within this space currently? Uh, my take on this, and I think Dan's in agreement, is that we're really should expect the regulation to lag. Governance within organizations has been all over the place. We've been hearing from some organizations where they basically shut it down completely, like, oh, you can't use it here. Now that has some interesting effects. And then other places that are really leaning into it and saying, okay, let's use it, but let's provide some guardrails about what kind of data get put into these systems so that we avoid potential problems. And then as things have gone, enterprise sort of licenses for some of these provide more security around how the data is used. But the governance is from a kind of government perspective, I think is going to continue to lag on this. Okay, so I think I think I didn't miss any of it. That was the set of questions we got ahead of time. Question in our Q&A. Some of us are about to graduate. How would you recommend that we stay up to date with AI development and its application in the real world? Yeah, that's a great question. So there's many paths here to keeping up. Some of this really is going to depend on the organization you're in for your work. Some organizations are doing a great job of hosting various activities to help support the employees to stay up on things and even make it very relevant to their specific roles or the industry they're in. Some organizations don't have that same capacity. Not everybody's a Microsoft kind of organization. And so, having to rely on more outside sources. There's lots of great stuff on social media. It's actually sorting through it is the hard part. I read content every day and engage with people on, kind of on the cutting edge of things regularly. So it's kind of a mix of the two is what I found to be very useful. There are some articles and things that are supportive, but this is moving so quickly that you really have to leverage the most recent stuff that pops into your feed as a way to initiate thinking about it is what I found. Dan, anything that you want to add to that?
No, I carve, just some normal tips. I carve a block out of my calendar every week. I put all those articles in a folder and I just make sure to read them at one point during the week. I know it sounds like a simple thing, but it really does help.
Yeah, and I'm going to answer one more, and I realize we're about out of time. So how can Simon community members remain engaged with the AI initiative through the school? Is the online MSBA and AAI program a good start? Great question. Absolutely. If you're wanting to, re-up kind of your education, that program would be a fantastic place. It's going to give you, an understanding of a lot of the kind of things we're talked about today. But the alumni workshops is another great avenue for that, and there's going to be more coming that we're going to be talking about with that. So realize we're at the end of our time. Thank you so much for joining. It's been a pleasure to share with you what we've been up to and to try and answer some of your questions. If you didn't get your question answered, please feel free to reach out.
Thank you.